Good morning, seventh graders. Third and final lesson on our chapter on electromagnetic waves. So we're going to look at wireless communication today. First, we'll read our fun facts about teens and their cell phones. So, how do teens feel about cell phones? Researchers asked some teens to take a survey so that they could learn about teens' cell phone usage. How do these results compare with your own ideas? 45% believe that having a cell phone is the key to their social life. Having a cell phone makes 78% feel safe when they're not at home. When asked to select additional features for a basic cell phone, 71% chose a music player. More than half use cell phones to check email. Nearly half said they could send text messages while blindfolded. So 2 questions about the little story here. Who would find these results useful and why? Well, I think the biggest one would be the cell phone manufacturers, right? Because then they can use this information to make their phones better and then market them to the teens. And then what do you think is the most important use of a cell phone? Personally, I think the most important use is being able to call somebody and talk to them when you can't see them. I know that there's video chat and other things, but my grandma doesn't know how to use video chat. So I love being able to call and talk to her on the phone. All right, so we have 3 key questions for our lesson today. How do radio waves transmit information? How does a cell phone work? And how does satellite communication work? Okay, first of all, I'll have to move my bubble probably again. But radio waves carry information from the antenna of a broadcasting station to the receiving antenna of your radio. So we have AM and FM, amplitude modulation, a method of broadcasting signals by changing the amplitude of a wave, and frequency modulation, a method of broadcasting signals by changing the frequency of a wave. Both are methods of transmitting signals for radio broadcasters. So we know we have FM stations and AM stations. AM, the amplitude changes. It has constant frequency, lower frequencies, less energy than FM, and it reflects off the ionosphere. That's how the waves go, okay? FM has constant amplitude, but the frequency changes. It has higher frequencies, more energy than AM, and it passes through the ionosphere. So just some differences of the two there. Radio waves are also used for other communications, such as taxi and police radios, personal communication for a hobby. Not too much anymore, I don't think, but in previous years, people would have radios in their houses and they would use them to communicate with other people. Cell phones. Cell phones transmit and receive signals using high-frequency microwaves. Okay, so 5 steps here. So what happens when you place a phone call? When you place a cell phone call, the phone sends out microwaves, which are tagged with a number unique to your phone. 2, a tower picks up those microwaves and transfers the signal to a hub. 3, the hub channels and transmits the signal to a receiver. Sorry for the typo. The receiver may be another tower or another hub, depending on the distance between the 2 phones. 4, the tower or hub transmits the signal to the receiving cell phone. 5, the receiving phone rings when it picks up the signal. So 5 steps sounds like a lot of stuff that happens when you make a phone call, but imagine how quickly that phone call is answered. Like, how quickly does it ring when you call somebody else? Finally, communication satellites. Communication satellites receive radio, television, and telephone signals and relay the signals to receivers on Earth. Satellite phone systems you can call anywhere in the world, but they are a higher cost than a cell phone. Satellite television systems, a satellite dish antenna is needed to pick up the signals, and a decoding box is needed to unscramble those signals. All right, so the satellite television systems use a satellite dish antenna, again, to pick up the signals, and then a decoding box to unscramble those. So 2 parts for the satellite television systems. And then a global positioning system, the GPS, receivers found in cars, airplanes, boats, cell phones. Typically, now we only have them in our cell phones, but before smartphones, there was GPSs that you would put in your car in order to get you places as a separate thing. They weren't built into the cars. So let's review our vocabulary. We have had amplitude modulation, a method of broadcasting signals by changing the amplitude of a wave, and then frequency modulation, a method of broadcasting signals by changing the frequency of a wave. So amplitude is changing the amplitude of a wave, frequency is changing the frequency of a wave. And your assignment is going to be working on the Edmodo questions for this lesson. Next time we will review and take a quiz. Any questions? Let me know.